welcome to Loved It, Hated It Media Reviews. We're talking episode 2, Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Come take a deuce with us. Episode deuce.
He only produced, not directed. There's a difference.
Correction, only produced.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that till I rewatched the credits of it. I was like, oh, I thought he directed it. I guess you just produced it.
All right,
He made him put in the...
Well, yeah. He's still Michael Bay. But...
It still has a lot of Michael Bay to it. Explosions out of nowhere, pointless stuff, overgrown everything. I hate it, obviously. Hate it.
Ben's hated it.
Especially Megan Fox. I cannot stand that lady.
I loved it. Loved it. It was a great movie, especially Megan Fox. I don't really care for Megan Fox as an actress, but she was probably the best April O'Neil that I've seen live action. A cartoon April O'Neil still the best April O'Neil, but live action Megan Fox was the best because she cares about being a reporter. Her whole thing is journalistic integrity. That's her whole thing in this. She's not a damsel in distress. She's not someone who's only there to get saved by the turtles. She has her own character.
Right. They did go with that, like building up her background story and kind of getting in. Like, see, she cares about the stuff that's like the station doesn't want to do. She's a rebel.
It's still Megan Fox, and I can't get past not liking her. I did like the intro, however, the little comic book intro. I thought that was done cool. I liked how that kind of set up with the black and white comic books.
Kitty. And she's like, I want to be on it.
Yeah, we'll have to mute the cat.
So like, I thought that was pretty cool. I don't like the fact that turtles are ginormous, and I do like their personalities. I thought were done. Actually, that's one of the few things I feel they got right. It was like Raphael feels like a badass. Donatello feels like a nerd. Michelangelo feels like
The funny guy.
a funny guy, and Leonardo felt like a leader. Like, it did feel all like that. I wasn't big on Splinter either, though.
I don't like. Well, we should let Mike say what he thinks about it before we go into too much. Since we got the loved it, hated it, and then just ignored Mike.
That's true.
That's all right. That's kind of my position. I'm just here to fill in. I'm the filler.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of on the fence about it, as usual. There's things I liked, things I didn't like. I don't know. Overall, it was all right. I liked it. But that was, like Ben was just saying, I think it was my least favorite version of Splinter, I think. Like, just this one. The one in this movie, Splinter, I was like, Well, here's what I didn't get about it. Like, it was kind of with Splinter and the whole Ninja Turtles is, like, they never really explained, like, their fascination with the, just, like, Japanese culture and stuff like that. It's like as if, somebody in the laboratory had a bunch of stuff around, but it's like they just grew up in the lab, and then, all of a sudden they're in the sewer, they escaped in the sewer, and then all of a sudden they're just like, painting Chinese symbols on stuff, and...
Well, they explained it a little bit with...
like it. He's like, oh.
Shredder,
Japanese
or not Shredder.
symbols, not Chinese.
Yeah, and not Shredder, but Splinter, he taught him ninjutsu, because he found a book in the sewer that was about ninjutsu, so he taught him that, which...
Well, I think he's talking more like Eric Finker's character, who has a Japanese fascination.
Oh, well, because he grew up in Japan.
Everything.
No, it's all the turtles too, because it's like, why would they be
left...
obsessed with that? They had the symbols even on their shell. They wrote like
that is true.
That's true. They never
Japanese symbols,
and they put them up every time they fought.
Yeah, well, because William Finker's character, they explained that he grew up in Japan, and then his father never came back from the Vietnam War, so he was like an orphan in Japan, and so he kind of, that's how he got the Japanese culture type. But they didn't explain the turtles' fascination with like that, other than Splinter found a book and decided to teach him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, maybe they just cut it out, but maybe they had like, there was somebody who lived in an apartment there that was just like from Japan, and then they died, and then they just put all this stuff in the sewer. They're like, there you go, here's a kimono for Splinter.
Yeah,
close enough.
Pick that up.
You just find stuff in the sewers because people flush whatever down the toilet.
They flush whole suits down.
Yep.
It's like I'm gonna flush a suit down the toilet.
They use the
couple bandanas.
They must live under the sewers from the Amazing Spider-Man High School, where it's just like we talked about last week.
Just hopping through the stage.
Yeah, they must have a bunch of stuff can just fit down there.
Right, that's what it was. The kids were getting picked on. They're like, screw this, and threw it down the toilet in the Spider-Man school.
Yeah. See, I think Ninja Turtles are owned by DC. I think I don't know if it's. I know it's not Marvel. I think they're owned property wise.
I don't think they're DC or Marvel. I think they are their own.
Wasn't it Image at first? And I know it's on IDW
Image.
now.
I know IDW carries them now.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think it might be Image originally.
I thought it was because I know like the Marvel and DC kind of own a lot of stuff. Because I know apparently the Men in Black is a DC adaptation.
I didn't know that.
Because they're like a sub company of what DC owns. So technically they are. I thought the Turtles were technically DC,
Gotcha.
but they could
They
be.
probably could be. I don't know. I have some like super nerd friends. I'm sure they know offhand. Like they could probably tell us.
I didn't say.
But I didn't mind Splinter. I mean, I did kind of like his story in this, like origin story, how he was just a rat that he learned instead of in the originals where he was trained by he was just a rat that was trained by his master, that he was all of a sudden great in martial arts in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Like for no reason.
Just watching him like in the first episode or the first movie.
All he did was watch him.
He's like mimicking him in this cage. That was one of the funniest like scenes though as a kid. He's like, yeah, like doing all his like little puppet ninja stuff in the cage.
Rat doing ninjutsu. My favorite is the original cartoon story though, where he is the actual character.
Hamato Yoshi, right?
Yeah, when he is
like
Hamato Yoshi, and then he like touches the rat with the ooze, and that's what turns him into a rat. Because that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
as far as him knowing ninjutsu and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and having that culture too.
That's my favorite way to bring Splinter. I'm not big on this whole. He became a complete badass from reading a book.
Right? That was the best
Because every
book
time
ever.
I read ninjutsu books, I know I'm doing backflips off the roof.
Yeah, but you're distracted by other stuff. He only had the ninjutsu book to read for like 10 years.
It doesn't teach you ninjutsu.
But it teaches you moves, and you practice with your sons, and
maybe it was like the ninjutsu
with your turtle
Bible.
sons.
he learns.
Your turtle kids.
Maybe they flushed down a VHS that we didn't get to see it.
Right? Just like different volumes every. Yeah, that was another thing they threw away. It was just like, I'm done with this volume. Threw it in the sewer. Split's like, yes, volume 2.
There's a lot of stuff that's in that sewer. Because they got all their pads, all their weapons. I assume are flushed down the sewer.
Right? Maybe they just raid.
The flea market.
What's the name of the company? Sax Industries.
Sax
In the new one.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe
Sax
they
is
just,
a
like-
terrible name.
Right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, Sax.
Ball
We're gonna go with
Sax.
Sax Industries.
Yeah,
to
well,
be
it's like-
Mr. Sax.
He was one half of Goldman at Saks before they split.
Oh,
So he got Saks and Goldman got Goldman.
I think I'd rather take Goldman over the Sax side of the industry.
Yeah. But and for the record, for the podcast, we all did watch the originals, Turtles 1, 2, and 3, and then the 2007 CGI version. So we'll talk about that as we go on, just so we kind of have some reference.
We watched all 3 of us have watched all 4 of them, probably 5 of them, 5 movies. Wow.
Yeah, because you have this one.
Because you have 3 of TMNT and then this one.
Yeah.
So
And I like
all 5 of them.
the Michael Bay one the best.
Tim is a disappointment.
Yeah.
I still like the first one best.
The first one is my favorite still. I guess there's a little bit of nostalgia there because it's what I grew up. That's what I grew up loving. The house looks like we sell Ninja Turtles in it. Right? That's what my house looks like.
Collectibles, turtles, random things everywhere.
Like, first one will always be my favorite. This one, not so much.
Yeah.
The other thing I had an issue with in this one, Shredder talks Japanese to everybody. Nobody ever responds to him in Japanese. Like, they only respond to him in English.
Well,
Like,
maybe he speaks Japanese but doesn't understand it. He just knows how to say it.
that doesn't even make sense.
I speak Japanese and understand English.
It's so confusing.
It's like when you take Spanish class and you just read how to speak Spanish out of a textbook. That's what Shredder did for Japanese, but he doesn't know how to understand it. He just knows how to speak it.
He only speaks it.
I can speak words in Italian, doesn't mean I can understand Italian if someone speaks it back to me.
So everyone has to speak English back to him.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the way the turtles look in this movie?
That was my favorite part, actually. is how they looked. Like I loved
Nice.
Donatello's like gear, like how they geared him up. Like I thought that was a really
Yeah.
cool touch because it was always Donatello does machines.
All
so
the
it's
tech
like,
gear.
Yeah, it made sense that he, was like goggle.
Had like a
things
scanner
and-
on his face, and
Yeah.
Yeah, he has like the little backpack with all the satellite dish stuff. I did
Yeah.
like the only thing I don't like about Donatello is the big glasses with the tape on them.
well, that's
like I think,
nerd.
I liked it.
I think it's a little far.
Right. And it made sense
Like-
because they're, they live in the sewer.
Yeah,
They
that's
break
the
and
best
stuff.
thing he could find.
But all the other turtles have perfect vision.
Well,
Just not this one. He needs
Right,
glasses.
He had
I-
like maybe they dropped pizza in the mutagen like in the second
Yeah.
one.
Like,
We screwed up his mutagen. He was kind of badass.
yeah.
We
Well,
could've fixed that.
his eyes are slightly
We did see
funny.
April was trying to feed one of them pizza all the time.
Oh yeah,
we
maybe
did
was
see
it.
that. Yeah, so
And
that,
he's the one that.
that
Health
was
defects.
Yeah.
that was a decent explanation on why they love pizza. Like I thought that was okay.
Yeah,
the way
from-
they did that she kept feeding the little box turtles pizza.
Yeah.
From Pizza Hut this time, when
So-
the original it was Domino's, they must have. Pizza Hut must have paid more this time around to sponsor their pizza than Domino's did.
Someone paid more money.
Yep.
Oh.
It's all about money.
But I gotta say, I forgot to mention it at the first episode and at this one, but I'm gonna try to remember at the beginning of every episode to say major spoiler alert for everything. Like
Oh yeah.
this show is one giant spoil. Like it's not for people who haven't seen
Yeah.
it, and then it's definitely for people who have seen it, and then they want to kind of discuss it.
See
go
if
over
we
things later.
see if Ben agrees with them, or see if he agrees that they're wrong. He's wrong. Like
Yeah, you might agree with Tim.
Right.
there's probably someone out there be like, yes, someone has spoken my feelings.
One guy feels like me.
No, I will get
One
beat up.
guy. I'm so proud.
When I get beating up at school for saying that I like this, I could play them this audio clip and be like, see, someone on a podcast agreed with me. Please don't beat me up.
Nice.
Oh, and I think you could do that on SoundCloud too, right? Because I know right
Yeah,
now
I
we're
think you
streaming
can.
this to SoundCloud, so
yeah, we're on SoundCloud.
you can click anywhere on the sound wave and make a comment. So
Yeah.
feel
Yeah,
free
you
to
can,
comment in,
so.
throw yourself in the show kind of
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Just pop it on there.
Although we should,
You're
I mean,
welcome
we
to, please do.
spoilers are going to be talked about. I don't think anyone's being like, oh, I wonder if, these people are reviewing the Michael Bay movie. I haven't seen it, but let me see what they think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
definitely
It's
those-
just good to get it out there that we are going to say spoilers.
Spoilers.
Like they're going to be there.
We'll probably spoil other movies, so if you haven't seen any movie ever, just
So
Right.
since we've only touched up on the look of so far Donatello,
Oh yeah,
I was like, I feel like this is the best Leonardo has ever looked. Actually, like I like the whole samurai suit. I think it looks cool.
yeah, that was
like
Yeah.
I think it looks neat. Maybe it's not pure ninja, but
right,
but
it's
I like
still-
the way
it's
he
still-
looks. Besides them being 77 foot tall and beefed out on steroids.
they were over 6 foot,
Yeah,
not 7
that's
foot.
true.
They're like 7 foot. and
Megan
they
Fox
throw
tells that to
storage
Whoopi,
crates.
Whoopi Goldberg one time that there's over 6 foot tall mutant turtles walking around.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, this was the best distinction of the different the differences in the turtles that we've ever seen. Like normally in all of everything
it's not
else,
just a bandana.
they're just
now.
wearing a colored bandana and they'll have no
Yeah.
difference. Like this one, Mikey had like a chain with some sunglasses around it in the middle. Raph instead of just had a mask, he had a full bandana over his head,
Yeah, that's
like you would see from a badass type guy.
Yeah, I liked
Right.
Raphael's.
Like it was distinct this time. It wasn't just
Yeah, that's the one thing
Yeah.
I liked. I liked that every turtle actually looked different. I felt like every turtle's personality was done well. That's like one of the few things I liked about this movie. Past all the other stuff I hate about this
see he's
movie.
coming around.
I hated
There
the way
was some
Splinter
things.
looked. Like,
Splinter
I
was,
think this is the worst he's looked.
he looked like an old rat.
Actually, maybe in TMNT, actually, that's the worst he looks. He looks like a fucking fox.
Yeah.
He does not look like a rat. He looks like a fox.
Oh, that's
We
true.
can make fun of his
Yeah,
look.
see
We just
that.
can't make fun of his voice in TMNT because I know a guy who did that, and the internet kind of crucified him because he was
Oh,
voiced
yeah.
by Mako, who was dying of throat cancer at the time. They cast him in the movie to talk as Splinter, so he kind of sounded terrible. And apparently, you can't make reference to how bad that is because the internet people will hate you.
He did so good.
That's some
He was the
publicity.
best.
I'll take hate publicity. If that's what we're gonna get. We'll get hate publicity.
So if we get like
I didn't
40,000
think his
comments,
voice was bad. I just don't like the way he looks.
I hated his voice.
Yeah, that was
Like,
design of the
his voice
character.
is okay. I don't like the way he looks because he doesn't look like a rat at all.
My favorite Splinter voice ever is the first two movies.
Yeah,
Like,
I
even
like
as
that
opposed
guy.
to the cartoon and everything, like, I really liked the first movie voice was just, like, anytime I mimic Splinter, just, you know, talking, being retarded, it goes to that
Yeah.
voice.
Because that voice.
You mean you don't
It's
sound
the
like
most
Monk?
memorable.
I sound like Monk when I talk as Splinter. Great casting for Tony Shalhoub. See, I know the actors to these things, so I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this guy was played by this guy. That's why I liked it." I don't care how he was in this movie. I only thought of him in other better movies,
Yeah.
so that blinded me to why he wasn't as good in this movie. Ergo, Megan Fox was great as April O'Neil.
Megan Fox is not great.
I don't care that she didn't have red hair. I don't care.
I don't care that she didn't have red hair. I just don't like Megan Fox.
I don't care
Like,
that she wasn't in her yellow jumpsuit. She had a yellow coat on. No one
she
wears,
did have the yellow coat.
no one wears
which was-
jumpsuits in 2014. So.
I think they
Like the
should.
big old
I think they
raincoat
should bring it
stuff.
back. And
I
we're
like-
bringing everything else back from the 90s. You might as well bring back the jumpsuit.
Yeah.
That's true. They probably could have done it if they really want to do, like, all the fashion types. They can bring back
her
anything
in a-
whenever they want. They're just like, this is cool again.
Put her in a Kill Bill costume.
Yeah, see? I'm
Right.
totally behind that idea.
She knows the five-finger death punch.
She, like, pulls out of the
That's how she really
goes-
defeated Shredder.
That's how she defeated Shredder.
Flies in.
Yeah.
What's your takes on Shredder as far as the way he looks and what he is in this?
That was I think that was my biggest or my second biggest problem with them. Well, but it kind of connects to my biggest problem with the film. Like, overall, I thought a lot of the film, the only thing that kind of bugged me was that they took everything and then they're like, okay, we have everything, now let's just make everything super stronger and, like, let's just coke everything up and make it, like, super
Yeah.
duper. Like the Shredder with his giant robo suit and stuff.
Robo suit
It's
claws.
like,
His throwing knives that are retractable.
yeah, they get sucked back in somehow, the magnets. Each
that
one
is
is a
so
different
dumb.
one, and it just knows to get back in the holster and then
Yeah.
shoot right out.
I
Like,
just assumed he knows the Force.
oh, that, yeah.
He's
he
a,
does.
He's a Sith.
Right? He's a Sith.
I don't know.
Shredder the Sith.
That was probably my least favorite aspect was the Shredder suit because it was too like robotic, and I
Definitely robot.
can understand. But I mean, I thought the Shredder himself was good, and I liked like how they showed him like training and how you could see his face was scarred up and it was
Yeah, that
it was
cool.
shredded like it should be. Because that's why he wore the suit and the mask. In the original, you could tell that he had like a couple cuts where the rat scratched him,
Yeah.
and then he put
Right.
on a
Oh,
Shredder.
that scratched me. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm a badass, but
This
I'm
one.
embarrassed.
I mean, I didn't mind
Mask.
it. I didn't mind that as much as some other stuff, but the suit was kind of a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
I felt that way. Like, I hated this suit. Like, it's ginormous. It's all robotic. It shoots knives. And then I have...
Right.
Part of my
Like
beef with the
small
whole
swords.
knife shooting thing is, like, earlier in the movie, they get shot with bullets.
They're bulletproof.
Yeah, they're bulletproof, but they are
Oh, yeah.
not knife-proof,
Well,
apparently. Because they are afraid
Depends
of
on
knives.
where they hit
Sharp
them.
and
Like as
splatty.
they say, they're shooting them, and they only realize they're bulletproof when they're hitting them in the shell.
I guess
But their
that's-
skin is still green and
It's green.
it can be
and-
attacked.
Yeah.
They just realized it. But I liked them that they were teenagers. Like, this was the best inclination I got that they were actually teenagers. Like, when Mikey was trying to hit on April and try to go with, like, hey, I think I have a chance with her, he didn't process that he was a turtle and she was a human. It was
Right.
just, hey, I like this chick. And he was, I felt like he was talking to her like a teenager thinks you're supposed to talk to a woman.
Yeah.
Like, because
that's
everything he
true.
was saying was kind of, it's believable that they were, like, okay, I can understand that they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and not adult turtles that are...
Yeah, and that's part of that whole personality thing. Like, they
Yeah.
did... Like, I like the little gag when they're watching the Foot Soldiers or the Foot Clan shoot up everything.
Yeah.
And I like the part where Mikey's like, this cat is playing chopsticks with chopsticks.
Yeah.
Like, he absolutely cares less. There's some crazy shit going on.
Yeah,
Right.
because
Just
Mikey's
watch the little-
personality is like he's the comic guy. He's
I
the
like
he's
Right.
the fun guy.
that was that I liked. Like, there's a few things I liked overall, but it's still the worst movie.
No,
It's second worst to 3. 3 is the worst.
I didn't.
3 I thought was the worst.
3 is the worst.
Here's where people are gonna hate me, but I actually didn't hate 3.
You should hate Tim.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. But I actually hated 2 more just because it was so like from beginning to end, like it was too childish. It was too humor forced.
They're kids' movies.
I know, but there was a limit to where you're watching them 15 years later, back to back to back, and it's like, holy
Right.
crap, these movies don't hold
We
up
did
at all.
do that. I thought the first one held up well.
The first one held
the
up.
second
good.
one, I guess it's more nostalgia than anything.
Yeah, that's
Because
what
it's
hit
not
me
the
for it.
best movie.
Like the whole
At
last
all.
half of
It's
the
still
movie was just
enjoyable.
unbearable.
It's enjoyable.
I wouldn't say enjoyable. It was unbearable.
Right.
I say we have pre-fight donuts at every fight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like,
And then all the foot are just gonna stand there. All right, pre-fight donuts.
Yeah.
They're like, what? This is
This
not
is stupid.
usual, but we're gonna go with it. All right.
I think at
This can't be
UFC
anything.
we should have pre-fight donuts. Both fighters should have to eat a donut first.
Yeah.
And then they fight.
It'd be like fighters vomiting on each other all the time. Just should have had all those pre-fight donuts.
Pre-fight donuts.
It'll go well with the Vanilla Ice concert in the background.
Oh god, right?
Let's do
In
it.
the docks. I would have loved to
I
hear
thought
that.
was so weird. Like where that location is. I'm like, I've never been to New York, so
Yeah, well,
we can't factor that in. So anyone from New York, let me know if there's actually like clubs on the docks where Vanilla Ice plays.
There could be
Right.
like
I'd like to know.
And
Like-
ninja gangs hang out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Ninja Gangs
like
hang
at
out.
night raves where they've got going everything, and they invite Vanilla Ice to be their special guest.
Yeah,
Raves are crazy, I'll tell you.
apparently,
Back in the '90s, I bet the raves were all the rave.
especially with Vanilla Ice.
Right? Ninja rap.
I told this to Ben, but they're probably filming his movie then in that warehouse, and then just took a break to fit in some turtles. Because if anyone's seen Cool as Ice, the opening scene is them like singing in a warehouse, and that's where the closing scene ends. So I'm saying it's bookended. Same universe.
It's the same universe.
That's right.
His book ends at the end of
Yeah.
Cool of Ice.
Yep.
He's like, I did my whole movie in this warehouse next to this dock.
Yep. I'm telling you.
Turtles busted in halfway through filming.
Yep.
We just let it go with it. Ninja rap.
I loved everybody's just like, oh, those are amazing suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that is
They're
one-
not even the best looking suits though.
Well, it was the second movie. They weren't worse than because 3 had the worst suits. I'll agree with that because.
Yeah, you can
Absolutely.
see their eye holes.
And I told us to Ben, it's
Yeah.
because Jim Henson died, so they had to
Yeah.
change things. So the suits in the third one weren't going to look as good, but I forgive that because the plot in 3 was feasible.
That was the worst plot ever.
Yeah, that's not a
He's
feasible
like,
plot.
find a time machine scepter thing
In the
antiquing.
antique store.
They're
You know how
mutant.
many times I have found a time machine in the antique store?
hate it when that
Zero.
happens.
They're mutant turtles, all right? You take liberties with that?
Right? It's like,
Who
this
takes
is
liberty-
bullshit. I can accept mutant turtles,
Mutant
but not
Turtles?
time
Now
travel.
time travel. Time travel's iffy on me.
I will not take these giant dandelions grown from green ooze, but
See, that's totally real.
time travel.
It's totally real, man.
Yeah.
Like fully function. It's just weird that they found a time traveling scepter, in the antique store.
Well, nobody knew it was an antique scepter.
I guess that's true. They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Time traveled you back to.
So the old guy they
Feudal
swindled on
Japan.
Antique Roadshow, they got a great deal.
Yeah, they did.
Some old Japanese guy came in with his giant scepter, and they told him it was worthless, and then they shipped him off.
They should at least had like I could see if like it should have been in a museum, and then like maybe the Foot
Yeah.
Clan stole it, and then the turtles kicking their ass found it. They're like, what's this? Or
Yeah.
something like that'd have been cool.
They brought Casey Jones back for the third one. That was
was
great.
cool.
Brought Casey Jones back for nothing, for no reason.
for 2 parts.
Yeah.
For 2 parts of the whole movie.
It was
Go
better than the second one.
teach some
Where he just
Japanese guys
disappears.
some hockey. Yeah, and then
Right.
they brought in
They're just like, we don't talk
Kino.
about Casey Jones
Yeah.
anymore.
And then they have the Japanese guys having a great time in the future at arcades and dance clubs and
Oh, yeah.
karaoke. That was
They
amazing.
didn't want to go back.
They did not want to
That was amazing.
They had their moments. I liked it. There was just a lot of plot holes in the third one that I couldn't get over. I was just like, why? Why?
I don't
And the big eyes, the big eye, the
big
eye
eyes under
holes,
the mask.
the super noticeable eye holes.
I was looking at the
but-
spots more because they had way
Yeah,
more
they
liver
have
spots.
like.
Well,
They looked like Mr. Burns if he was a turtle.
I noticed that too. I was like, why they
Oh,
put so many spots on every turtle? There's turtles are just spots everywhere. They're like green with a layer of darker green polka dots.
I thought they should have stank too. Like I owned a turtle as a kid, and that was the stankest pet I've ever owned at a hamster, dogs, cats, anything. Turtles are stank. They should have mentioned that. Like April's like, oh my god, it smells so bad down here.
Well, and they live in the sewer, and it's like the sewer and these turtles don't smell that bad for some reason.
Right, they always
like
pimped it out.
super
They
turtle
kept clean.
shampoo down there.
That was the human side of them. They kept
Plus,
clean.
in
They kept clean.
Plus, in the second and third
Sewer.
one, they lived in an underground subway system. So that's
It's
3
true.
strikes for them. They should have had some odor.
That was the coolest though. As a kid watching those movies, I always like wished
I
that
wanted
that
to live
was
in
my
that subway
area.
station.
Like,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna move out and do a abandoned station.
The
in the
abandoned
sewers.
subway.
It's gonna be
Underground,
great.
yeah.
It'd be awesome. The sewer, maybe not.
Well,
But the
Abandoned.
That's
abandoned
where
subway,
you got to take it
Right,
with
heck
it.
yeah.
cool.
You got to take them. Abandoned subways aren't just going to be above ground. They got to be in the sewer.
Right.
You
well, I
got to
guess
take the
that's
good with the
true.
bad.
Yeah.
It's like the mansions of the sewer.
See, one thing I did
gotta
like,
go both
or
ways.
another thing I did like about the Michael Bay version is that they didn't show you the Turtles right away. It was kind of a build-up.
Oh,
And that's what I liked about the first Turtles movie. Is like they didn't give it to you right away. They kind of built it up with, you don't know what they look like, and then you see them in the shadows, and then they come out, and then it's like, oh my God, there's the Turtles.
Yeah.
There was like that in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, they
Where the second and
kinda
third,
opened
the
the same
opening
way.
shots were just like, here's the Turtles. Look how bad they look compared to before.
yeah, the second one was like the whole opening fight scene where they're in the toy store mall,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh
that-
yeah.
whatever that
That's
place
pretty
is.
comical.
It's
But-
a mall with the hot dog stand and a toy store,
Well, that's how-
but
that-
it's also underground.
That's how indoor malls used to be in New York.
But yeah, I guess so. So I mean, there is like it's just that whole, and that is they're just like right up front. Here's some turtles.
Yeah.
Here's what they look like. They don't look as good as the first movie.
Oh, look, they're dancing
Right.
now.
But I thought that's doable in the because at first I was actually disappointed that they did that again in the Michael Bay one. But then I had to remember that they're rebooting the whole series,
Yeah.
so I was like, it makes sense in the first movie to leave some mystery, but the movies following that, it's like retarded to pretend
Well, that's
like
true,
you don't
yeah.
know what they look
Well,
like yet.
We
Like,
don't know.
like if they did that again in the second one, in the one coming out soon, the Out of the Shadows, then
But it keeps
Like, I'd
the
be pissed
mystery.
off. I'd
It's
be
like,
I
all
think
right.
it's funny that these turtles in this new movie and Out of the Shadows actually look different than the current ones. Like they're the same general concept,
Well,
but like their faces are
Yeah.
squished down a little bit. They look a little less bulky.
well, you can tell they probably
Oh,
took,
okay.
and we'll get
Like,
into
it
the.
looks like they took a little bit in like consideration into what
Yeah.
people might have said based on the first one.
We'll get into the Out of Shadows trailer at the end of the podcast. We all
Yeah, we'll
just
get
watched
there.
it, and we'll talk about it in future, what we hope to see in the movie. But they do look a little different. But I don't know. I liked the. Now, what did you think of like the supporting cast, like Vernon being with Megan Fox, and like how William Fichtner was the bad guy, and then you had like the news station. Like, what do you think they had a good cast, or do you?
I thought the news station was fine the way it was. I generally not. I'm like 50-50 on Will Arnett and everything. Like, so he's just kind of there to me. Like, he doesn't make me hate him more or less.
Okay.
Like, so he's okay for what he is, and the character he plays isn't the biggest character in the whole franchise, so it's not that big of a deal. When casting, I felt like he would be good for that character, because he is kind of a douchebag.
he
And
totally
that
looks
character's
like him,
kind of a
kinda.
douchebag.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that... So, like, I get that. William Fichtner is a bad guy, doesn't really feel that completely bad. Like, some parts he does, some parts I'm like, meh.
He's not terrible.
And
Well,
he was all in it
yeah.
for money, too.
well, it's just
I'm
those,
gonna be so rich, even though he's already rich.
but,
Did you see
but
his
he was
estate?
gonna be stupid rich.
His estate looks
Rich.
like he's stupid rich already.
I mean, there's rich, and then there's stupid rich.
His estate
So
looks
rich
like
you
he's
don't even have
stupid
to
rich.
think anymore.
Like he has a castle on a mountain. Or a
course.
castle on a small hill.
Yeah, but now he was gonna.
He's gonna be stupid richer.
But the government was gonna send him a blank check, which reminded me of the movie Blank Check.
Oh my, that movie's God. So I don't.
I don't know. Well, he's a bad guy in everything, so it's kind of hard to be like, I wonder what well he's gonna play. Oh, he's a bad guy. He's like Ed Harris. You see Ed
Yeah.
Harris in a movie, and it's like, all right, I know you're the bad guy. Don't try to hide it.
Or like Christopher Walken used to be. Like Christopher Walken always played the bad guy back in the day.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people are better
So,
bad
I mean-
guys.
So he's another guy that was just there to me.
Yeah.
Like in fact, the whole supporting cast was just there. Like I could take him or leave him.
Yeah.
They added good substance. Like it wasn't just like, and I told this to Ben. It's like I thought that the Turtles were the main character. He thinks April O'Neil is.
I still think April O'Neil is the main character of that movie.
It was the
That was
story
the
of.
focus.
It was the
kind of.
The story was about the turtles. The turtles are the ones that saved the day. They got. I don't know if they got more screen.
April O'Neil saves the day
No, she
with
doesn't.
the help of the turtles.
Exactly. See, it wasn't just
With
April
the
O'Neil.
help, but she saves the
They
day.
did. They had to save her when she was falling off the building, and then they just swung her over to hit the Shredder after Leo had already thrown 2 katanas at him. So it wasn't like she defeated him out of nowhere.
She kicked him.
Yeah, and he
Just
fell off.
delivered
Yeah.
the final
She
blow.
delivered the final blow.
I will say the battle with Shredder in this one was a lot better than the originals because it was more of a battle and not like I told, where it's like
I like
the
the
turtles.
first movie battle.
The turtles get beat up and then Splinter throws him off the roof and he falls into a trash compactor. That was a terrible ending.
Swift nunchuck move.
Yeah, this one.
He's like a ninjutsu master. So of course he's.
It was
super-
anticlimactic.
Well, I guess yeah.
The whole thing was the Shredder was this bad guy that it's like he trips over the railing and then I expected some wah-wah music.
Wow, wow,
But
wow.
at least this final fight scene felt like Shredder was kicking their ass with his.
Besides his crazy flying blades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, annoying.
That's true. They kind of just like they kept cutting to other things in the first movie in that last fight scene, like because
Yeah.
they would go into it that they put it in the movie that they were battling for a while, but they only kept cutting to it, be like, and they're still battling on the roof and stuff. So they gave the impression of like this huge battle, but they didn't really show much. And I think it was probably like suit restrictions from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So I remember hearing that the suits kept tearing. They had to have a bunch of different versions
Yeah,
and stuff.
I heard
they
like
would,
a lot of the suits they had issues
Yeah.
with,
Yes.
and in the first suits the animatronics are all on the shells.
Yeah.
For the face,
Oh, yeah.
so every time like they fell on the shell, like I guess it would make the face stop working properly, so they'd have to fix that constantly.
CGI is great because in this one the mouths moved perfectly.
Oh, my
Right.
God. It's not the worst CGI, I will admit. It was better than Spider-Man CGI.
Well, yeah.
This didn't feel like it was taken from your PS2 video game.
It was better than the 2007 TMNT CGIs, which it felt like they weren't turtles; they were more like skinny reptiles.
Yeah.
They were all anorexic.
Yeah,
That
froggy
one's
kinda.
a weird story. The one thing I liked about that one though was Karai. Like I like the look of Karai in that one.
Yeah, that was
Like
pretty.
I thought she looked cool. That's probably the best part of that whole movie to me. The rest, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, it's apparently the story is because I think the biggest problem I had with that was they didn't explain anything because they expected you to know the TV show, and apparently it was a direct sequel to the original TMNT movies, like 1, 2, and 3. That was technically a sequel to it.
Is it supposed to be
so
a
it's
sequel of
technically
3?
four.
Yeah, so it was to the original.
It
So
is
that's why they
a
never.
weird
I could see
sequel.
that because they just said Shredder's dead.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they said
that's straight
Splitter
where they
sent
went.
off Leonardo to South America to train. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be like a sequel to it, but then it was supposed to also follow the TV show that I think came out after or right before.
Okay.
But they never explained like who the turtles are. Like they just go
we
into it.
already know who they are. We don't need to hear how they became the turtles.
But
for
if
the
you're
95th
watching it,
time.
you have no idea that it's supposed to be a sequel. It's supposed to tie into the TV show. If
I
you
guess that's true.
like watching it as a movie, it's terrible at explaining things.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like if they would have put like TMNT 4 on there.
Yeah.
It would've been a little,
You could've
like,
known,
need to catch up.
Yeah,
To
you
get
need to
the
watch
background story.
3
Yeah.
movies before this. That
This
makes
is
sense.
instead of just, oh, by the way, these are the turtles, which you already know, so we're not going to spend any time explaining them. We're going to go into Patrick Stewart as the bad guy.
See, I only liked Karai in that one. Like that was my favorite part of that movie was the look of Karai. In this new one, Karai, she doesn't feel like that big of a part of it, even though she seems like she's supposed to be a big part of it.
Yeah, they
Because she
didn't
kind
go
of
too
leads
much
the
into
foot
her.
soldiers, but they don't go past that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she's like, all right, you go here, and that's it. That's all we see her, and
She's like a boss, Ben. She just tells people where to go.
pretty much.
She's like, she's right into the shredder. She's his right-hand man.
Well, in like the cartoon, the comic, she's his adopted daughter, so he does basically raise her. Which is funny that she doesn't speak Japanese either.
She understands
She's
Japanese.
Shredder.
She
Oh,
understands.
she understands it. She can't speak it. He can
She's the
speak it, but he cannot understand it. It's a
Exactly.
very confusing father-daughter relationship.
And they never said they were father-daughter in this one.
Well, I guess that's true.
So
She's
she was-
just random girl.
She was
that
just his.
understands Japanese and speaks back in English so that he can understand her back.
And I mean, they could go into it in the second movie because we never saw we saw the shredder.
Hopefully they will.
We saw the shredder die, quote unquote, but he could always come back as the super shredder.
The super
Right.
Earth
He's got-
Shredder.
They'll just come back, pour some moves on him.
He's got in the second.
They always can think of something.
You're
Yeah.
all fixed up now. Good
Yeah.
job.
right.
So the one thing I thought was ridiculous was when he goes, he like gets a little tube and he's like, I'm gonna shoot this out of the tower. Because I believe we
Right.
watched that last week
Right?
in Spider-Man.
Yep.
Amazing Spider-Man. They've been hanging out with the lizard.
And
It's like the same.
and Loki from the Avengers. It's
Yeah.
Right?
it was like-
yeah.
it's
It's like the
so-
exact same setup.
This is-
The exact same change it at the last minute. Oh. Like, save
I actually
everything.
wrote, I was like, apparently, that's how you try and take over New York, is you have to get to the tall building and you shoot a tube to infect the New York from that high
Yep.
building in
Right.
that tower.
But see, what was great about this one compared to those other movies is that just because they stopped the shredder from launching it doesn't mean it was over, because
That's
it
true,
was
'cause
still
the tower was falling.
it was still filled with the toxic gas. So if it would have
That's
fallen
true.
over, it wouldn't have killed so many people. Just 10 blocks radius worth. So they still had to
Right.
do some work. It wasn't just press a button to stop it. Now we're saved.
That's
yeah,
true.
and every other one. Well, they did shoot it off in Spider-Man. Like, it started to change people, and then when Stacy shot off another
Yeah.
one. But so I thought it was funny that I was like, that's apparently a bad guy plan. So if I ever become a bad guy,
They
I'm
gotta
gonna
keep it.
shoot something out of a tower.
Yep. Well, don't do that
Infect the
because
world.
someone will stop you at the last second.
I guess
Right.
that's true. I better come up with a better plan.
Some crazy mutated person
Yeah.
will jump out and start beating your ass.
Whether it's a spider.
It could be Spider, could be Ninja Turtles, could be the Avengers. I just know that once I go up there and shoot that out of the tower, I got issues with good guys coming.
Yep. See, so the key is to shoot it off in New Jersey because no one wants to go there. So you'll have free reign over like
Free reign.
over killing people because it's Jersey. No one wants to travel there. I mean, it's Jersey. It's also probably you shoot it up into the air and you'll have to fight with all the other toxins that are up in the New Jersey.
I guess that's true.
It just gets absorbed into all the hairspray
Yeah.
fumes floating around.
Because when I think of New Jersey, I imagine like 1993 Los Angeles, to where it's like smoke everywhere. You can't see in front of your face for more than 2 meters.
Yeah. So based on that, what you guys? Because in my opinion, the biggest like action scene in the whole movie is kind of when they're going down the mountain in the snow, big
Oh, yeah.
car race.
I would say this one has the one where they're fighting in the sewers, where they fight with the Foot Clan and the Shredder. In the sewers where they
Okay,
beat,
yeah,
where they beat up Splinter
where he
and
beats
then
up Splinter.
so I thought that one was a little better than the mountain scene, just
Yeah.
because my problem with the mountain scene was like it's shaky cam and it's too close up.
It is shaky.
It,
Cam.
it made sense in that if they were gonna have one aspect of it to where it was gonna be like super up close, falling, and you see him, that was gonna be the best instance. I thought shaky cam and the you can't tell who's fighting who because it's so convoluted. I thought that was the only scene. Like when they were in the sewers, and then when they were fighting Shredder at the end, it was all like pan around shots. Like you could tell that who the turtles were, who Shredder was, who the Foot Clan was. It wasn't a convoluted mess like you see in other movies.
Yeah,
so I
the,
liked that.
the sewer fight was definitely like a very, you could tell what was going on. Whereas that snow scene, it was just drive down a mountain, throw turtles here, some cars.
Will Arnett takes a minute to look at Megan Fox's ass.
Right.
That did happen.
That was
And
the
then
only
she-
scene in the movie.
Right?
Yeah.
But then she didn't die, hanging halfway out of the window and hit a giant snowbank. She's like, "Oh, it just knocked me out. I'm falling."
Yeah.
But then it kind of knocked the door open, wasn't it? Because then she's trying to climb back and the door's kind of open. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch that again.
I think
but
so,
I
and
think she was
I
trying
thought that would
to
have cut her in
picture
half if they-
something. Nah.
They're just like, "Oh, April's dead."
Realism
Dang it.
is way out the window. Like, there's no point.
I want
Like,
realism in my Mutant
We're
Turtles music,
talking
Dad.
here in Turtles. There's like realism. Like I always hate the realism argument people give in every movie. Like I've had someone try to realism argue this. One time it was Transformers because I complained about how Megatron didn't turn into a gun. And they're like, that's not realistic. Because none of that shit is. The whole movie is not realistic.
Right? It's like,
So
might as well
that
take place
argument
on it.
is
It's
no.
not supposed to be. I mean, I'm sure
Exactly.
if we got Neil deGrasse Tyson to watch this movie, he'd have all kinds of problems, but
Yeah, we don't need that.
we're not watching that. Now, what did you
No,
think
we're-
about how the Foot Clan looked?
I don't like them because
That was
they're
the worst
all
part.
they're just like terrorists now, and
With
I
black
don't see-
spray-painted faces?
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
like a terrorist SWAT team of some kind.
and I don't see what the issue is with me and ninjas. Ninjas are cool.
Yeah.
They're ninja turtles. Why can't they fight ninja bad guys?
Yeah. I like that they were adults compared to, like, forgotten teenagers in the original, but I do. I
Yeah.
like,
Okay, yeah,
but I
that's
like
a
the
forgot.
suits in the original because they were more like ninja-like. They
Yeah,
weren't
it
just
felt like a Foot Clan as opposed to
Yeah.
the Foot
ISIS.
ISIS. yeah,
The
yeah,
SWAT
like,
ISIS.
yeah, SWAT. Like, yeah, I was like Foot ISIS instead. They felt like a clan of. Like, I like the look better in the first one. The adult thing's a little better, I guess, in this one. I don't like the whole gun thing.
Yeah.
Like, they all have machine guns.
I mean, they were smarter in this.
incredible tasers.
They were smarter in the original one. I mean, the bad thing with martial arts is it's easy. There's someone's doing martial arts, you just shoot them with a gun. That was perfect.
And that was the worst thing about the old movies too. Is there, or the thing you had to really suspend your disbelief for the things, but all the. And it's like any mass villain minions or whatever, they just they get in a stance and they jump in front of the hero and wait to get punched. They're just like, waha!
Yeah.
Oh, now you
Oh my god,
I
hey.
should have swung earlier. That's what I.
Or
next
it's like, all right, I know we're the bad guys, but we have honor. We're gonna fight one at a time.
time. Right?
Yeah,
Everybody
it's true,
wait your
too.
turn.
Yeah.
Just
Whoa,
don't
Jimmy.
crowd 'em.
I was supposed to go next. All right, stop jumping, stop cutting in line.
Don't cut me in my ninja fight line.
I won the raffle, damn it. You're number 7.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I get my screen time early, and then I get out of here. I got lunch. I gotta go to lunch. It's, the,
Yeah, my
union,
contract.
the union's gonna kick my ass if I'm not off the clock.
Yeah.
Alright. They should, man. I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't made some kind of movie like that about just like nothing but a bunch of just like shitty movie villains, like all the stormtroopers from Star Wars and all the Foot Clan and the what is it, the redcoats and
Star Trek.
Star Trek and everything, and just their horrible training.
The
that they go
putties from
through.
Power
Yeah,
Rangers.
yeah. Everyone just gets kicked.
Yeah.
Right.
That was one thing I did feel a little better about these foot soldiers, because like they didn't just come in just like it wasn't free range ass kicking ground.
Yeah, they weren't
Like,
there
let's
just.
just go kick some foot soldier ass, like in most of the cartoons is that way, and
They weren't there
even
just to
in,
get
like,
beat up.
second movie, they're like, oh, foot soldiers, let's go kick their asses, and they always do.
You know what I thought
So,
would have
like-
been cool about the Foot Soldiers, though, that I'm kind of disappointed they haven't done in a movie yet, is I was hoping with this one, since they're going all out and making the big robot shredder suit anyway, I thought they should have made the Foot Clan the robots like they were in the cartoon, so they could go ahead and just rip off robot limbs and not worry about like, oh, we can't have the gore of like doing that to people, but it would be kind of cool
Yeah, that
just to
would
have
be
them
cool.
fighting little crazy ass like robot ninja.
Well, we
things.
do see
Yeah, absolutely.
Baxter Stockman, so maybe we'll get the Mousers.
Right?
I'm
Oh, hoping for the
Mousers will be
Mousers.
Cool. They've already covered Bebop and Rocksteady.
Then we'll
So,
already then we'll get
I'm
all the
already
rip.
looking forward to this.
Then we'll already get the whip off of the limbs and.
Yeah.
Right? That'd be sweet.
Because if
Yeah,
it's one thing I
want
hated in the
Mouse
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Super Nintendo game was those damn Mousers.
This was Mousers.
Right? Fucking Mousers always snapping onto your bows when you're trying to kick their ass.
Mousers-
No!
No, the worst thing in that game for me is the little robots that shoot the little
Uh,
rope that electrocutes you.
yeah.
Oh, I hate
In
that.
Turtles in Time, those are the
Yeah,
those are the most
yeah.
annoying things in that game.
Right? Fucking shocky things.
But yeah, so how you guys feel about when they're rolling down the tower towards the end?
Oh, and they have-
everyone's like, "What you guys do? Any last
A
words?"
little
Yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah, a little
It was. I mean,
dialogue there.
it fit in with like they don't know. They think they're gonna die, so they're just gonna be honest with each other because they're brothers, and sometimes with brothers you don't like.
Yeah.
You fight, but at the end of the day, you still love each other. And Raph got a little teary-eyed.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about that is that Raph didn't notice that they had landed.
Yeah.
Like, he's falling for
He's
so
still
far.
talking.
And, they catch it with their feet. And he's just like, ugh, or there's no at least, because they could have still done it like he's confessing and then, oh, we landed. Oh, now
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed or whatever.
Nobody feels it. They just like land.
Yeah.
It
And
just lands. The smoothest
Like, oh.
like drop from a
Yeah,
tower
right?
landing.
There's
ever.
not even a sound. It's just
Yeah.
falling. Oh.
Yeah, nothing. And then
Done.
Raph's. Well, no one was going to interrupt him because Raph was actually like admitting his feelings. No
He
one
was
wanted to
right.
stop that.
He was too busy spilling out his little ninja heart.
Yeah.
He spilled out his little ninja heart.
Because Raph's always been like the tough bad guy, and because in all the movies he's got to be
Right.
the loner. He's got to be the
Yeah, he's always
the guy that
always-
goes off on his own.
Right. Anger issues.
Yeah.
You can't solve it.
He's got the stone heart, but
Right.
Like,
He was better in this one. Like the Raph, I think I couldn't tell if it was the same voice guy as the originals. At some points it sounded like it. I doubt it was, but I picked up hints on it.
yeah, it was. I thought this guy's voice was okay. I like the guy that plays Raphael's voice.
Yeah,
So
Mikey was good. Donald.
Yeah.
The only one I was kind of
Mikey,
iffy on was Leo.
I don't feel like Leo
Yeah.
has, but there's so many iterations where I don't feel like Leonardo's voice sounds like much of a leader. Like even in the new cartoon, they have Seth Green voicing him now.
Oh, he does, Leo?
Yeah, and he doesn't sound like a leader at all. Like he sounds
Yeah.
teenager-ish, but not very leader-ish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like I do like the other voices. That's back to that personality part where the turtles felt right. Like they all felt like they had different personality. They all felt like they had the looks. They all look different. It's the most distinctive they've ever been,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to just being different colored bandana, and you kind of have to get to their attitudes.
Well, I'm looking at Ben's
Right.
shirt because he's wearing an old school turtle shirt, and the only difference is
Right.
like they've got like their first letter
Yeah, they
initial
got
on the
different
belt.
colors and
Right.
initials
See,
on
they
it.
even need the initial,
That
the
one-
color, and the initial
Yeah.
belt buckle.
Like you couldn't
Yeah,
tell
like
them
that was
apart.
it. And even in the original comics, they all had red bandanas. Like
right? They
all
also
four
have
of
the
them.
same.
So it's even
Yeah.
less distinction.
They
Like-
even had the exactly same build.
Yeah.
All of them. Just like, yeah.
Yeah,
we work
so,
out the exact
so this
same
is cool,
exercise.
like, to see, like, Raphael be bigger than
Yeah.
the rest of the Turtles, which makes sense, because he was always the one always trained,
Yeah.
always trying to be the, like, badass of the group.
Now, what did you think about like their weapons? Like Donnie had he had his bow staff, but it was like electric shocked. Like, do you think that
Oh,
was
yeah. It
like
has, like,
I-
this power, the springy power. and
Yeah.
I
everything,
thought
yeah.
that was cool that it was all teched out, because he is the one
Yeah.
that does machines.
Right, it makes sense.
Like, so it makes sense that the nerdy one that does all the internet stuff has a, like,
would modify his weapon?
has modified, like, nerd tech out weapons, and whereas the rest all have
They're basic.
basic weapons.
Mikey
Yeah.
with the nunchucks. I will admit, like, there was a line in the first one that got me, and I couldn't, like, in this one, what got me was, like, a cat playing chopsticks with chopsticks line.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the first original one, and I had to pause the movie and laugh for, like, 10 minutes, was, like, when they're fighting the Foot Clan for the first time in April's apartment, and Mikey's doing the nunchucks, and then the other guy's doing them.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And Mikey stops, he's like, oh, a fellow chucker, eh? Like, I could not contain my laughter. I had to pause it. Like, that's the only part that I was, like, busting out.
Awesome.
Like, I was like, all right, that's a great line.
It's definitely a good part of that movie.
I love that. Yeah, I don't know. I always loved, I thought all the movies did pretty good with that, with Michelangelo's humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, like even in the second one and everything, I always liked his humor. Like, he really did good.
Yeah, I always thought that Michelangelo has done the best of all of them.
Because he's like the most teenagey because he's got the jokes and he's like he's
Yeah.
so pop cultureized that anything he sees. I mean, you see him in this movie when they show a flashback of like them learning growing up, and they stick a little thing out of the sewers to watch Ain't No Holla Back Girl by Gwen Stefani.
Oh, yeah.
Like and then
Right.
Mikey gets down and he's doing a little dance afterwards, and it's like that's Mikey. He's
Yeah.
like the pop culture fun guy. That's like he's the whimsical.
Yeah, and they're like, that's
Yeah.
the only thing. Like, their personalities did.
Now we just need to get Michelangelo as Spider-Man, and we'll be set.
Okay.
He's got the humor down, and
Yeah.
Just give him the web slinger thing.
we could have
Web slingers
we could have
and-
Donnie as Peter Parker and Michelangelo as Spider-Man. It's perfect.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Spider Turtles.
Yeah, awesome.
We're going everywhere.
Yeah, we got to think of new movies like we did last week. I got a lot of calls for our Centaur Spider-Man versus Octopus MD.
I still want to see that.
I still want to make that. I still want to see it and make it.
Yeah,
I'm going to start working on that Centaur spider suit.
yeah.
Right.
All right.
I'll start looking for trays for Octopus MD just to hold him in.
So we got to think of it. We've already got Teenage Mutant Ninja Spider Turtles, so we got to have a villain. Who's our villain?
Who's our villain?
The villain. He'll have to be like a mix of all the villains that have done that. He'll have everybody who's tried to poison a mass city.
Just has
with
to try
a
and poison
launching
Mass City
mechanism.
from the
Like,
top tower.
He'd be the Joker, the Lizard, the Shredder,
Loki.
Loki.
If we go animated, we could have a cheese grater with Loki horns.
Right.
If we choose to go
Let's just-
animated.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll just get some guys, just this spiky blob of hate.
Spiky
Just-
blob of hate. with
just
one
has
like container to shoot from that building with a virus.
Right. Or maybe that's what we could do to make it slightly different. He will be the launcher. It'll just be out of his head.
So he just
and then,
It
he
saves
can
time.
launch it, just like you take a dump. He launches stuff. He's like,
he just
keep
has to
launching
climb
all
to the
these
top of that
crazy-
building.
We just shoot him out of a
Stopped
cannon.
up there.
We shoot him out of a cannon.
Sounds great.
He doesn't have to climb. We don't have to waste all that elevator time, stairs time. He just shoots him right up into the air, launches it off his hat. We got it.
Definitely sounds great. So ending, pretty much everyone felt the same way about the ending. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's recycled ending.
So
But I
based,
didn't.
so based on that ending, and seeing as we all just watched the Out of the Shadows trailer, how do you guys feel about this one coming out just now?
It looks like it's gonna be really cool. I think. Like, I'm excited to see Bebop and Rocksteady. Of course, like, I'm stoked they finally brought them into a live action movie realm.
Definitely.
Like that is gonna be sweet. Cause even in the TMNT, the fourth episode or whatever, it's like they didn't even have him in there. But that's what I kind of liked about TMNT, is that they kind of took a minute to just have like, oh, here's another thing that happened to the Turtles one time that wasn't connected to your favorite main bad guys like Shredder or whatever.
Yeah, it had like
So it's kind of
completely
cool,
new
just
bad
as,
guys.
something to throw in there.
I don't know. I felt it'll be good. I mean, obviously, I love this movie. This movie was great, so it could only get better. Because it looks like watching the trailer, like some of the stuff that like people might not have liked about the first one, they changed.
Yeah,
Like the turtles look
definitely.
more. I mean, they're supposed to look like mutant turtles, so they can't look perfect. But they kind of toned down their look a little bit to make them more.
Yeah, they're not
appealing.
as super bulky.
And then I think like they got obviously Casey Jones is in this, Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman, so they're kind of going more along the lines of these people, see how they play out instead of just we're gonna take this completely different scenario. Like the new bad guy is gonna be this guy who's completely brand new. They're going off well-known characters.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt like they're definitely taking well-known ones with like Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman.
Yeah.
I feel like Bebop and Rocksteady look great for this movie.
Yeah.
Like I like the way both of them look.
You can tell that they spent some time on it.
I feel like they did tone the turtles down a little bit from as bulky as they were. So that was like, as much as I don't like this Michael Bay one, I still actually want to go see this new one.
I think it's
which
because he
is-
produced it, not directed it. Michael
I
Bay
understand
directing
it's-
is different than
it's
Michael Bay
still-
producing.
It's
Yeah,
still technically
yeah.
Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Mostly
but
because he funded this project.
yeah,
Means it's gonna be
So-
crowded action scenes with
So many-
moments of slow down.
yeah, we got some slow
We
mo in
already
this.
saw that when the tank comes out of the water in the trailer.
Oh, yeah,
They
right,
have
even
a
in the
slow
trailer.
down scene
I mean, it's
in the trailer.
it still is Michael Bay. He's still gonna get his Michael Bayisms in.
Yeah,
But it's not
yeah.
it's not gonna be as bad as if he directed the movie. Producing it's a little bit different.
Yeah, like
It
there
won't
is a
quite be
different
Transformer
director and a
Turtles.
different writer. So on this one, I want to go see opening weekend. I like to see movies then when I can.
Yeah.
So I'm actually looking forward to this new one, even though I can't. I do not like this one at all. Like I saw this one in the theater, and I was like, I am not watching that again. Up until we decided to do this,
Yeah.
and then I decided I watched this.
I watched it in the theater and I fell asleep for the first, but not because it was bad, but because it was like 11:30 at night and I was tired. So I completely missed like the whole like action scene in the sewers the first time around. Like I fell asleep after they were introducing the turtles and I woke up when they were already in like the glass box. So I was like, what the hell happened?
It's like half the movie.
So watching it again for like the first time all the way through, I really really liked it.
yeah,
That's one thing. That was another just like slight small beef I had with the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was that in the opening scene they have super strength, like so there's like I thought that wasn't the best because you automatically don't have as much, like they can't get in as much peril, I guess, it kind of takes them away from the like definitely the humanity side, given they are mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Given they are mutant
but
turtles.
okay, so like in the first scene, they can just chuck big storage trailers like nothing, but then they get put in this little like these glass cages, each of them glass cages with like nothing but 2 wrist restraints on each of them, and they're like, oh, we're just so tired, we can't break out of this. And even at the end, even the weight of 2 of the turtles alone at the end is enough to pull a freaking beam out from the side of the building. So it's like they could have just leaned back on the back of the glass cage.
They were getting their blood drained.
Out.
Raph tried to break it with his head. It wouldn't work. It was super turtle-proof glass.
Except for they literally flip out of it.
Because they were pumped up on adrenaline.
Flip out of it.
They were pumped on adrenaline.
Because the handy button that April O'Neil found would be like, what's this
The
computer do?
adrenaline
Oh,
button.
it's the adrenaline. I better hit that.
Overshoot him with adrenaline.
Who sets up an adrenaline button onto people that are restrained?
Well, if it's like a machine,
Terrible plan.
if it's like a professional machine that you would see in medicine, then they have to have some type of fail-safe.
Does the failsafe is to pump everyone full of adrenaline?
That's what doctors do.
Maybe that was like the he mentioned when he got him in there. He's like, I don't care if it kills you. Maybe that was for if they're almost dead, but they're like, wait, we can extract your blood better if you're alive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just gotta give you a little more adrenaline.
He wanted to
That's a
drain
good
him.
point, yeah.
But see, they had super strength, so you felt that the shredder had to be more overpowered, because if he was just a regular shredder, they would have made mincemeat out of him.
Yeah, that's
they
the only thing that made
they had to give him a better cut.
Well, they
Yeah,
had to
a
make him
robotic-
better
it was his only
because-
way he
robotic
could
costume.
stand a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they had you.
And that was at least they did that. At least those two aspects kind of fit each other, explained each other. But I wish they would have just kept it lower as a whole. Like, kept the, not totally super strength, but definitely buff and strong, and
Yeah.
can
it's
kick the average dude's
stronger,
ass.
yeah.
but-
And
Oh, but I liked. Okay, one thing I didn't get about when you first see Shredder, like they go into this he's like in some sort of like in the middle of like a 50 Shades of Grey like S&M session. He's just like, yeah, tie me up and hit me. And then breaks the dude's arm with his chin. He's just like, gotcha.
Yeah.
Break your arm with my chin.
That's,
Like,
that's how Japanese men train. They put themselves in bonded situations to try to bust out.
and then break, just fight everything with their chin.
Yep. It gets them off that way.
Shit. But I did love his look, like you were saying earlier, like, how he's so scarred and he almost looked like burnt and super.
Yeah.
Like, he had more of a reason to hide his face.
Yeah, he had
Like you're
more of
saying,
a
than just
reason to wear the
a
mask
little
than the
rat
one
scratch.
little scratch under his eye.
The half a pound rat gave him, and
Yeah. Got scratched by a rat, which apparently never healed.
yeah.
It just got worse.
It's scarred.
Like, I shouldn't have rubbed all that dirt in it when it was fresh. God, that was a mistake.
Thank you, high school football coach, for telling me to rub some dirt in it. It did not pay off.
Told me if I kept picking at it, it wasn't gonna get better. I guess they're right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that was yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say about that movie. Except for I guess I don't know. I was really mixed on the snow scene though, and that whole snow scene, because it was a cool scene. It's very action packed. But it was so long, and then they just kept sliding. Like, none of them ever hit a bump to slow it down, and they could, perfectly surf on their shells down it.
Yeah.
And then when you end it, like we were
They're
saying, it's like
turtles.
they show the view above them, and it's this small hill. Like,
Yeah,
maybe a
it's-
10-minute hike at the most.
like a
5-10 minute
10-minute
hike.
hike.
Like, we've been sliding down that for, like, the last 20 minutes.
It's a 20-minute drive, but a 10-minute hike.
Like,
Movie magic.
It's the smallest
Right.
hill that they drove down for 10 minutes fighting.
maybe it's like
And
a
they
half-
flipped like 2 cars.
Well, I forgot to put the snow
Right.
tires on, so they weren't going as fast.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
That was kind of...
They were going about 20 down that fight.
It just looked
About
dangerous.
20.
But it did have one of my favorite parts too. Is when when Raph was complaining about his shell or something, and he's like, Donnie was like, "Let me be the badass for once" or something. Hopped out and did that,
Yeah.
get the little spring
Swing his
stick
little
under the
spring
car and
load
flip it up, and just that
katana.
look on his face is like, woo! Like that was awesome. I like that part.
He's like, here's my little beefed up bow staff, and he
Yeah.
just springs out like that. That
Yeah,
makes
that was
sense to
pretty
me still, for him to have cooler weapons.
Right.
It's what he does. He beefs up. In fact, he beefs up the car and everything in every iteration.
Yeah?
Like, he's the one that always. So why would he always just stick to like a shitty ass stick? He's like, I got a
Probably
stick,
A long
guys.
stick.
Right.
So I like the fact.
Oh, I
that
put some
he
tape
had-
around it for my hands. so
Yeah,
it's-
like I like the fact he beefed up his weapon, because he's not
Yeah.
the toughest one of
Yeah.
the group.
The only thing I can't remember is, like, Michelangelo using the nunchucks that much.
He.
Like, I remember
I
Leonardo
don't think he
using the
uses them
katanas.
at all, actually.
I remember the bow staff. I remember Raphael using like the sais, but I can't remember like any scene with like Michelangelo. I think he maybe used them once.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
he used them.
he used them for the song in the elevator.
Yeah, he did. That's
DJ
like,
Mikey.
Yeah.
Or MC Mikey.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
That's like the. And I think when he was trying to fly off the building, he used them to like swing onto a hook.
Yeah,
to catch
he did.
himself.
He hooked on.
But there was no
he
like
caught
real
himself.
scenes with him using the chucks.
Just like. doing
Yeah,
some
not really
chucking.
in this one. Like, he's done more nunchucking in every other version.
That's true.
In fact, he did more nunchucking with the cold cut, with the combat cold cuts in part 2.
Yeah. Which they toned everything down because apparently the first one was too violent. So then the second one they teach you how to use like household items,
As
Right.
weapons.
like a yo-yo and
We're gonna teach all the kids to improvise.
Yeah.
Dude, a yo-yo would fuck you up.
Improvise weapon
God.
101.
Get that thing swinging. Beesh.
there we go, parents. You wanted us to
Breaking
tone it. You said there was too much weapon use, so we're gonna tone that down.
Right. We're gonna teach them how to use stuff they can get a hold of.
And then the third one ramped up the violence a little more. They went back to the more
They did go back to, like, Japan. There was a lot more violence in it.
fighting and
They had the whole building burned down.
see everything about it was better than people
Yeah.
remember. It was better than 2. There
They
was
had
no
the guy
Vanilla Ice.
Fire the cannon. What is your problem with Vanilla Ice?
He ruined them. I mean, the movie wasn't that great to begin with,
It's
but
the
it just,
greatest song in TV history, movie history, Ninja Rap.
that apparently so
That should have won an Oscar.
Did he already
for
have-
best original song in a film?
he already had a whole choreographed
Ninja
dance
rap.
scene to a song he just made up on the fly about Ninja
Yeah, I
Turtles.
have a choreographed dancing to every song.
Yeah,
Every
potential
song.
song.
Every potential song.
Yeah, exactly. We could have a bunch of ladybugs bust in through the door, and Bed's already got a choreographed song with backup
I've
dancers.
got a dance for it. For the, like, mutated ladybug attack song. I have a dance.
Well, yeah. Why would you not be ready with a dance? I mean, everybody has a dance for each situation. I have a dance for when I get in car wrecks. Song and dance. Just got in a car wreck. Oh shit.
Starts rapping. Yeah, everybody's rapping everywhere.
Bring on the paperwork. Come on.
Give me yo insurance. Give me yo insurance.
See? We're all prepared.
Right?
Yeah.
And the dance.
Maybe
It's
maybe
gotta have
maybe
it.
Vanilla Ice is a great improviser. We don't know.
He's the greatest.
If I would've seen him on-
Obviously.
If I would have seen him on Mad TV once, I would have believed it, but I didn't. So, not SNL. He's not good enough for that. But
That is kind of funny about that song, though. Like, it was the most hated part from what you hear from Turtles fans and stuff about the movie. Like, oh, Vanilla Ice came in, but then it became the most memorable
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle related song.
'Cause the movie was
everybody's
so
like,
bad.
Ninja rap. Like it was. It was
Everybody
still
knows
some
that
catchy-
song.
yeah,
But it was. Yeah,
Like-
it was just horrible.
Vanilla Ice has two
Vanilla
good
Ice.
songs, and that's one of them.
That's one of the 2 like hits he had. He had 2 hits.
Thanks to the Turtle movie.
One of them,
Right.
yeah, one of them is far more thanks to the Turtle movie than Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
So,
Which,
there's that.
who knows who wrote that shit in the first place? Vanilla Ice didn't write that shit. I mean, maybe the
Absolutely.
lyrics of it, maybe he, wrote some verses. but-
There's some really corny
send people to
lyrics,
write
so there's
their
a
own
chance he
piece.
might have wrote those lyrics.
I wanna look it up right
They
now.
are really corny.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
good
but
idea.
Who wrote the Ninja?
I don't know.
Rap?
It's like
Right. Cause yeah, it's good. I mean, well, even with fucking Ice Ice Baby was just a David Bowie.
it's under
song.
pressure.
Yeah.
No, that's Queen.
Oh, okay.
It technically is David Bowie
Oh, that's
and
right.
Queen.
Oh, really?
Well, it's David Bowie and Freddie
David
Mercury.
Bowie guesting
Oh,
on
okay.
the Queen album.
Yeah,
or
or it's
something.
Freddie Mercury
Was
who
it on
writes it,
Queen? Oh yeah.
and
yeah.
then David Bowie sings it. It's those
Oh,
two.
that's right.
It's a
Yeah,
collaboration
yeah.
between the 2 guys.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it's just that's what Ice Ice Baby is wrapped over is under pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I mean, hip hop's
So-
always done that. Is
Yeah, that's
just stole
been
an
since the
old
beginning.
classic beat. They just get the music from there and kind of karaoke it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so this is what Wikipedia says about the Ninja Rap. So Vanilla Ice was asked to do a rap song for the film. They approached him to do a song. He was presented a script and told to make it ice.
Make it
Make it
ice.
ice.
Make it ice, baby.
Well, it sounds pretty Vanilla Ice.
And everything was improvised by him.
Huh.
Nice.
See?
Good job.
He
Job,
impro-
Vanilla.
See, he was completely prepared for a ninja fight to break out.
And all of his backup dancers.
And all of his backup dancers. And the whole crowd that doesn't care that there's a gigantic turtle with spikes and a gigantic dog
They thought it was
and
costumes.
some other turtles that just busted through the wall.
They were all just tripping balls anyway, so they're just like,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not sure
that's
what I'm
true.
seeing and what's
And
actually here.
the like crazy loudest speaker ever. That can
Right?
blast
That
a
was-
shredder.
That was the lamest part of the second movie. They kicked his ass with rock and roll. Just shot him out with a little.
I can't even know. Does
Keyboard
it qualify as if it's rock and roll with him? He does it with a guitar.
Right, and then it just blows the speaker that has the fourth descendant.
Well, apparently the writer of that part was a big fan of Back to the Future because Michael J. Fox does it.
right,
That's
he Michael J.
true.
Foxed him.
He was like, that was actually a good thing. We could use that in our movie.
Meow.
Right.
That was 80. That was 80, 87. This is 91. Yeah, it's been a long enough time. We could do it. People will think we came up with it.
They'll think we did it.
See, the second one's
Yes.
getting worse and worse as we go on, and the third one's looking better.
The third one is still not looking
The
much
plot's
better.
not terrible.
It
I
is-
mean, the time travel, whatever. They go back to ancient Japan, which was cool.
the only cool thing about them going back was how they all saw him as like the Kappa demons. Or, yeah, Kappa.
Yeah,
They
that's
thought
true.
they thought they were the demon turtles
Yeah.
and stuff, and that was kind of neat. They just look so bad, and like I cannot get past their eye holes
I got over it.
and how polka dotty they are.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
The
they
spots
look
was
so,
what got-
they look so bad.
The spots got me. That was a little.
Like,
that was a little
just-
much.
Ugh.
Yes, I don't know.
And to bring Casey Jones back finally, like such a memorable character from the first movie,
Yeah,
to just bring him back for like 2 scenes.
those were important.
But
two
then they
scenes.
had his identical twin in the.
Well,
in
it's
the
probably an
ancient
ancestor.
days,
Yeah,
right?
his-
His ancient ancestor.
His
Yeah.
ancient
like-
ancestor that looks exactly like him with short hair.
Right.
And a beard.
Just
Yeah.
handily
And a beard.
prepared. Right.
Well, you got to change up the features a little bit, and then he turns out to be he's a spy for the bad guy, but then he turns good at the end because he's
Right.
it's too unfair. He's a bad guy, but he's a bad guy with a conscience.
Right.
Yeah, well, you gotta have bad guys with consciences.
Some guys are just bad, and some guys are bad with a heart of gold.
Yeah, and this guy's bad, but good. He's not bad like...
The bad guy, the
The
white
bad-
guy, who's
yeah,
trying to
the-
sell the Japanese. He's gonna screw the Japanese guy over with his guns for silver trade.
For money, right?
See, it's all
Evil
about
is
money.
all about money. You gotta just get that money.
They should have made him William Finkner's ancestor. It's all about the money.
Seriously, this is both of them money.
That's where he got it from.
Should've
that
done
was-
rough for sure.
That was another thing though about the Michael Bay one that I thought is it was. I liked it and I didn't like it. As always, I'm on the fence about it. But
Fits in
like
with the show.
right, like, but it was. I kind of didn't really like the way that they had to tie everybody together. You know, April was around filming and stuff, and you know knew the turtles and was raised with them and
Yeah.
stuff, and bringing everybody together like that. And the Shredders, you know, was in the company that behind the company that created the turtles and everything. Like, I don't know. I guess I just thought it was slightly unnecessarily tying them together. Like they could have just as easily been, you know, because she already was brought into the turtles world by, you know, going after that the foot.
But
Foot
going
Clan,
after
yeah.
the story in like the subway and stuff.
Yeah. And the
so
docs.
it's like there's
Yeah,
her
and the
into
docs,
meet
so
'em.
she's already been in.
Yeah, and they already, like, you know, they hacked her computer and met again later, so I felt they didn't really need to have that extra, like, oh, and,
She
you know, I
knew
just
these
remembered I
turtles.
grew
Yeah.
up with you, and...
It was a
you
little
know,
too
my dad's
convenient.
lab.
Yeah, like
But
that was.
but I did like how like she was getting more and more crazy by mentioning it to people. How like the vigilantes were 6-foot giant turtles, and she's trying to convince
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg to like give her the story because she's tracked down all of like the symbols.
Yeah.
And she's pointing to like a regular turtle on the board and being like, see, they were giant turtles, not that turtle, but they were turtles. And then
Right.
she's going through the old footage in her room, and her roommate's looking at her all crazy.
Yeah.
She's like, these are my childhood pets.
They did have a lot of mentions in that movie, like, I think at least 3 that I can think of they kept, like, and I think meta, isn't that the word, of when the movie kind of, like, it's almost when a character, like, looks into the screen and talks to the audience, like, it's more addressing the
Breaks the
audience
fourth
that's
wall.
Yeah, it's
watching.
breaking the
Yeah,
fourth wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they had a lot of that in there of, like, this is a ridiculous idea, guys, but we're going with
Yeah.
it, you know, like...
When she's talking to Willownet in the truck, and she's trying to tell him about the turtles, and he's like, "So you're telling me they're aliens?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, they're
Right.
just stupid. They're reptiles."
Right.
Like it was a homage to the whole thing, the rumor that like Michael Bay was gonna make them aliens from outer space, and people just lost their shit.
Right.
Which he was never gonna do. That was
It's so weird to me
Yeah.
too that they're just like, you absolutely can't make them aliens. That's ridiculous.
they're supposed to be Teenage
Because
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There's
not
nothing
teenage
ridiculous
aliens.
about this anyways.
Yeah. People like you can't change the story. See, fans are crazy. They're rabid.
Fans are
Right.
crazy. Like
You
some
get-
of that stuff is way out there.
You
Like,
get people who's like, no, it has to be this exact way, or I'm gonna hate it.
seriously,
Right.
there are people that are like, Michael Bay's the worst ever aliens. Let's crucify him.
Yeah.
Like it went a little far.
Well, I mean,
Good
see,
thing they did not become aliens.
it goes back to my hatred of comic book fans to a degree because, and I've said this before, it's like comic books are like adaptations. They're not like straight scripts you have to
There's a lot.
take.
Right.
There's a lot of change now for comic book fans.
There is.
Comic books have come a long
And I-
way since. I remember one time, Superman had long hair for a short time period,
Oh yeah.
and there's like layers to the editors of people complaining that Superman has long hair,
Really?
and they need
it's
to
like you can't
change
even-
that.
Right.
They're
Like,
like,
Superman would never miss a haircut. What is
Yeah,
this
and they're
bullshit?
like, you better change it back. You're the worst. I'm like, you can't have Superman with long hair.
In this comic,
Like,
it says
it's
he's
so
got,
crazy.
he's got special Kryptonian skin that keeps his hair all nice and trim, and now you're saying he doesn't? I can't follow this nonsense about this alien from outer space who can shoot
So-
things with his eyes. I can't. This is unrealistic.
So I think that's finally come around where people are accepting changes in
Yeah.
superheroes.
I mean, obviously, if you're
now
gonna
because
love
there's so
anything,
much, and even like with how much the Avengers drastically do not match up with the comic books, like the
Yeah.
movies, and people still seem to love it.
it's
So,
like- there's always those diehard
so
fans
it's
of
good
anything.
to see that
Yeah.
change.
Like if they're remaking Final Fantasy VII right now for the PS4.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, if they change the
Is-
main character to Squall,
But is it a
Right,
remake,
they
remake,
shit
or
their
because I
pants.
thought it was just a better updated graphic?
well, it's gonna be a 100% remake.
Oh wow!
Like they're remaking everything. They're not. It's not gonna be the same. They're gonna now. Obviously, the problem is it's gonna be episodic. So they're not gonna have like
okay.
a 160-hour game. It's gonna be like what they've said is like they're gonna have multiple parts that are like full-length games. But
Oh,
people
okay.
think it's gonna be like $60 for a 10-hour game, and then you got to pay $60 for another 10-hour game to get the whole story.
Oh, that sucks.
But they've never, but they haven't said anything as to whether or not it's gonna be like the game, but they don't know how much it's gonna cost, how much they're gonna make it episodic. So there's a little bit of change in there.
Okay, yeah.
Some people like that, some people hate that, but it's not like if they changed Cloud and named him Joseph. Like you gotta, because then I would hate that, and I would be like, "You sons
Right.
of bitches! It's gotta be the same."
Made him look
Needs
exactly
to
the
be
same.
Cloud.
But just changed the name.
You just
Yeah.
play as Zack in this one instead.
Yeah, they have games for that.
True.
So there's always like that nostalgia of people that like when you were like 10, you loved something, and then when you're 30, they change something, and you're like, when I was little.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's true.
When I was
Even like,
super
even right now with the Ninja Turtles, like,
Mm.
there's a lot of change in them that it's obviously what I think all of us grew up with
Yeah.
was the 1990s Ninja Turtles.
And this is an adaptation for the new
And this
generation.
is definitely an adaptation for a new generation of fans, and they don't look the same. They don't sound the same.
like
Like
they-
all of it.
They don't care
altered,
that you
but-
were 4 when the first movie came out and you loved it to death. They're gonna do how they want to do it.
Yeah.
Because that would be kind of lame too. Like it's the same way with bands I like. Like, if you never ever like change or just stray or grow in any way from the original idea, then it just gets boring. Then you just end up sounding like Hatebreed, where every album sounds like the same album.
Yeah.
Or if you're Nickelback.
Yeah, Nickelback or Hatebreed is one of those bands that literally, if you've heard one Hatebreed song, you've heard every Hatebreed song.
Right.
Like,
I mean, I used to.
It
I
hasn't
mean,
changed.
not to talk bad about Hatebreed. They're good at what they do, but still, yeah,
they're
it's
good
true.
at that
It's
one
like,
song. They're
you heard a
phenomenal
Hatebreed
at
album,
making
you
that
heard them all.
song.
And if they can take one song and recopy it 65 times and every single time it's a hit, good for
Right.
them.
Like, I wish I could do that. I don't have the power to
That
do
would be
it.
impressive.
Yeah. If I can make one thing and then recopy it 45 times and then it sells like crazy and I have fans who love that, I'm gonna do it. You can call me a sellout all you want.
Well, if you were a hot chick, then you totally could.
You could
You
do
wouldn't
that.
even have to know how to sing. Just
Just auto-tune
auto-tune that
yourself
shit.
out.
That's right.
Just wear some skimpy stuff, shake your ass around.
Even if
and-
you're a dude, T-Pain's got a great career.
Right, that's true.
That is true.
And his whole
I mean,
thing is
why
auto
not be
tune.
the next male like Lady Gaga? Just go with some crazy,
Wear
like,
some crazy outfits and
Yeah.
auto tune yourself and
just show a
bring
lot
it
of
down.
ass crack. Just
Yeah.
some abs.
I'll be hit with
To like the man version.
I'll be hit with like the 35-year-old woman crowd, which I'm okay with. I don't care about you
Oh
teeny
man,
boppers.
that would be vicious.
It would be vicious. You should do it.
It's like the moms who love Twilight to death. It's like they're rapping.
Oh my god.
Like you talk about like teenage girls being obsessed with stuff. Those moms were
Oh, right.
Those moms are
like
way
50
more
Shades of
obsessed.
Grey.
Right?
You had like people coming out of the woodwork who like never read a book in their life, being like, "This is the best book ever."
Yeah.
I'm a 45-year-old single mother from Albuquerque, and I love 50 Shades of Grey. I've been to all the book signings, and I've seen the movie 12 times. You got fans of any age.
God. I still haven't seen that movie. I actually tried to
I haven't.
read that book, 50 Shades of Grey, because
I didn't even tried.
I
didn't even look
had to
into
give it a chance. Like, well, mostly just to, because I like books anyway, and I love to read. So I was just kind of, seeing what all the hubbub was about. Be like, okay, why is this so amazing to so many people? And I didn't get very far at all. Like, I didn't even get into the book's bad or like hardcore scenes
Oh,
as
yeah.
people refer it to. But it's like, God, I'm so jaded from the internet and just anything else in the S&M world, and
You
know
go
that
into it
just-
being like, I know it's gonna suck, and then you're reading it, you're like, God, this sucks.
Yeah, you're like,
It's
the
like-
worst
it's
and
like Ben's
worst.
the
like I
Turtles.
couldn't.
It is me watching this Michael Bay Turtles
See,
movie.
Ben's whole, he didn't go
Like,
into it
I
fresh.
watched this. I was going.
He wanted to hate it, and that's what happened.
I watched. I tried to give it all. That first time I saw it in the theater, I went there excited to go watch a Ninja Turtles movie, and I left there sad. It was a sad day in my life.
I
I was like, how'd they make my favorite franchise such a pile of shit?
Going with low expectations, and you won't be disappointed.
Right.
So I watched it this time with zero expectations, and
Even the second time.
I finished with zero expectations again.
Well,
Which is a little worrisome about this whole Out of the Shadows thing, because I want to go in with expectations. Mostly
Right.
because I want to see Baxter Stockman. I want to see if we get Mousers. I
see,
want to
Seamus
see...
is Bebop. I can't remember who Seamus is. He's not the
He
guy with the
has to
mohawk.
be
Oh, he's
Rocksteady.
actually.
'Cause-
Yeah, they showed him in the trailer. Like, you see Seamus just in one, 2-second shot next to
Oh, I
a
totally
black
missed
guy who's Bebop, I think.
Yeah, the black guy is Bebop.
I didn't see the human Bebop in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who looks exactly like Bebop in the cartoon. Which
Yeah.
is weird that they went so far back to, like, the 90s cartoon for all the bad guys.
Oh, I love it.
So,
That's what I've been
it's
waiting
cool.
Well, except in cartoon, Baxter Stockman's white, and this one he's Tyler Perry, which is, I
Yeah.
swear to God, if they have him as Medea, I swear.
Like, it's definitely cool seeing all that, like that's pure nostalgia
Yeah.
going back that far.
They
Like,
better not have a scene with.
you are reaching for your adult fans at this point. You're like,
Mm.
well, maybe we got some kids with this one. Now we're gonna go get the adult fans that love this as kids, and here's how we're gonna do it.
But I'm telling you, when I see
Go
that
off
movie,
the 1990 cartoon.
if they show Baxter Stockman's mom and it's Medea, I swear.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, it's gonna
Baxter!
if
Damn
she,
it, Baxter, you get out of that laboratory.
I don't care if it's Eddie Murphy as Norbit. I don't care if it's Martin Lawrence as Big Mama. I'm walking out of that theater.
I forgot about that.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it. I don't care how great the movie is. I'll believe it.
I am excited to see. Well, okay, I'm excited and slightly worried, but from the preview of Out of the Shadows, it looks like they're finally opening up Dimension X,
Yeah.
and they got
Yeah,
some
it does look like
kind of
Dimension X.
robot-y little spaceships, something kind of coming out of the big.
There's definitely
like
something
portal
coming
or
out
something.
there. Yeah.
Like that is, I'm excited to see what that's gonna lead to. Like I'm excited that they're bringing in the alien part. A lot of the bad guys were aliens. They did have a lot of mutant bad guys throughout.
They've said that Krang is going to be.
Well, and they
a scene in the
put out the
movie.
toy line, and there is a toy for
Have they
Krang.
done it?
They,
Oh, yeah.
I
I
haven't
don't know
seen
if
the
it's
toy.
out yet. They have pictures of the whole toy line, and the Krang looks like it's the big suit with a brain in the stomach.
Nice, the
So
fucking humanoid suit with that.
So it looks like that. So if that's in the movie, like I think they confirmed that Krang is in the movie. So it'll be cool to see
wait
if
for
they
that.
go that route. The Dimension X thing will be cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it feels like. It feels like complete throwback movie. Like we're going way back, 1990s original Ninja Turtles.
They're not making
Right.
the whole movie for the fans, but you can throw in some homages. Like
So
you
there's
can,
a lot for the fans.
you can do like whatever. You can make the movie your own, and you don't have to make it 100% for the old school fans. But it never hurts to kind of throw in some. Because if you're an adult and you take your 4-year-old or not 4, like 10-year-old child to see it, the child's going to be entertained. But you don't want to sit there being like, God, when's this going to be over with? This kid won't shut up.
Yeah.
You want to be like, oh, what? I remember that. Like, you want to get
Right.
the
Yeah,
adults
so
into it a little bit.
It'd be cool to see where
You don't
got
got to cater to them, but you got to get them at least a little interested.
Well, that's the best.
There's
That's the
a
best
lot of
family
interest
movies
for
too.
this.
Yeah, that's always the best family movies for me too. Is the ones that have that are just so layered with different stuff. It's not totally a kids film, and it's not totally a oh my god, is this supposed to be a kids film? Kind of like adult
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
But it's like a nice mix to where
You get the
everybody
jokes
can
that
enjoy
are
it.
go over the head of the 4-year-old, but like you're an adult, you're like, I see what
Right.
you did there, movie.
And based on that trailer, what do you guys think about the new turtle van? Like or dislike?
I was wondering about that. Like
Like,
I'm wondering
this
if
is-
early on in the movie are they gonna get into something where the original turtle van that they showed at the end
yeah,
of the
because
first
you
one gets
show a turtle van
destroyed,
at the end. Yeah.
or are they just gonna be like is Donnie gonna be coming in one day and be like, check it out, I pimped out this trash truck.
Yeah.
We'll just use that as our second turtle van.
Yeah.
That's for
Maybe they upgraded the one they showed in the movie. They were like, oh, I added 16 more tons of metal to this that I found in the sewer. Somebody
It's gonna
flushed
be
a whole
cool.
trash truck down the
right?
Yeah.
Look at- right is
The
like
whole trash
maybe
truck got flushed.
is that one thing that they just kind of leave out of the Ninja Turtles thing to kind of not influence children. But I think the Ninja Turtles secretly off screen and off page and off print of everything that they can show everybody. I think they are insane kleptomaniacs because they have to just go around robbing everybody. I mean, Donnie's getting all this tech gear from somewhere. He's at least breaking into
It is
sex
all flushed
industries.
down the sewer. We talked about this.
I got.
They flush everything down the sewer.
I've cracked-
Computers,
I've cracked
Like
the secret.
extra
laptops.
parts. This works fine, but it's extra.
trucks.
I've cracked the secret. All right, so there's a child's like trash, like from Hot Wheels. There's a toy trash truck. It gets flushed down the sewer. It falls into some green ooze.
Oh
It's
yeah,
mutated.
and
It mutates into a giant truck. It's perfect.
it's
A
working.
giant trash
It's
truck.
slightly living a little bit. They can talk to it.
It's like Kid from Knight Rider. Everything they owned down there was a child's toy that fell into some ooze, and then is now an adult-sized version. It's perfect.
Right? That makes
perfect,
sense because
complete
that's where he got the
explanation.
kimono. Was just some little girl's Japanese doll. This was this works. I'm gonna put it on.
Japanese Barbie. She outgrew it. Michael Bay, if you want to contact me, I want a co-credit.
Right, a copy of Rosetta Stone, like Japanese version. They flushed that down. That's how they knew it. That's how they got fluent in writing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rosetta Stone teaches you to write, but
I have
got
no
Spanish.
idea.
They probably have phones that they have like symbols on that they like look at when they graffiti their Japanese symbols. They're like, they just Google Japanese tribal tattoos.
oh, that's true. It's the future. They just
Yeah.
Google everything.
They
What am I-
Google
I'm-
everything.
I'm still
They're
living in the 80s and the
2014, man.
90s for so many things.
Donatello was a great
Google
guy.
Everything. Donatello obviously does computers. He has like this city camera.
Right? He has all these. Yeah, he can.
Camera
he can
the
hack
whole
into anything.
city.
He hacked into April's setup. Leaving her that
A
message.
laptop,
Come meet us
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Come alone.
We will find you.
No, oh yeah, back to the movie that we've kind of gotten off topic. Like, what did you think when she first saw the Turtles? Like, what did you think of that, like, meet-up scene? Because in the original, like, they save her, she passes out, she wakes up. This
Right.
one, it was kind
I
of
like
a little
that.
bit, she photographs them, and then, like,
And they kind of go back to her and take the camera.
what did you think about the whole,
and-
her meeting up with the Turtles?
I thought that was done okay. It was a little different from when they like take her back and everything, and
The second time, when they mask her, and then
yeah,
she can tell that they're in the sewers because of the smell, and I appreciated that.
yeah, that is true.
Because she's like, are we in the sewer? Even though she's got the mask on, they don't know where they took her.
Please, it smells bad.
It still smells like a New York sewer.
Right? I
Yeah.
guess they did. Yeah, they did bring up the smell.
See?
Good job. Good job.
See?
So good
I'm
job,
telling you,
Turtles.
great movie.
not a great movie.
That alone makes it a great movie.
No, that does not make it a great movie. It is not.
April
a
can
great
smell. 9 out of 10.
Very good smell. I really did though. I liked that they brought back Vern just because it was kind of cool to see just a random old character from the cartoon series just kind of brought back, and he had kind of main part too. You know, he was like
Yeah, he was a big part of
April's
this.
main buddy through the whole thing. And I'm kind of glad that they, you know, he still was kind of, you know, just hitting on her and the whole time, and you know, trying to get that angle, but he wasn't quite as just snobby douchey sleaze as he was in the cartoon. Just
Yeah, he was.
this is a scoop, April. Just, yeah. But I mean, it was a cartoon. You can't have, you gotta have over character.
Yeah. You gotta,
Yeah, so
cartoon,
this
but-
cartoon.
like the
is,
douchiest part he had in this is when like she calls him up to meet him here, and he's making a Parmesan cheese sandwich with mustard. I don't know. And he's like, "Oh, this is the game you want to play? People will play it." And he's standing outside the van.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the little
Right.
fedora hat
Oh,
on,
yeah.
and he's trying it on. He's like, "What's the
Yeah.
hat?" "Oh, I don't know. My brother gave it to me. I thought it was stupid."
That was pretty funny.
Like his whole thing is like he's almost competing with Mikey for April.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like he's got to compete with this overgrown turtle for
for a girl.
attention.
Right.
Because she's not even into Mikey, but it's just like he's hitting
But
him.
he's
hitting
going
him.
for it.
He's persistent.
He's trying to get him some.
Now, what do you
O'Neal.
think? Because in the original movies, I think they had Donatello, who was kind of
in the
in love
original
with
movies,
April.
Donatello
Now, this one it
crushes
was
on her.
Mikey.
In the newest cartoon, Donatello has a little crush on April.
Yeah.
This
So,
one
Like
was
they
like,
all
this
always
whole
thought
Mikey.
she was hot. But,
Yeah, like
you know, they would
all
always
of them
comment.
did, but
Because
like,
they know it's the human woman. They haven't seen her.
Right.
yeah, so
They
I was
live
like,
with the rat
this
all
one-
their life.
Yeah,
I think that would be funny. They should just throw that into one of the movies. Just, you know, seeing a random turtle going around, and then one of the Ninja Turtle stops and be like, "Damn, yeah," or just start, you know, giving one of the just a regular old, you know, box turtle giving him the eye, just like, "Hey, lady," because you know they gotta have some like they gotta be able to tell what's hot in a turtle if they could tell what's hot in a human,
that's true.
because they're only turtles in ooze, so. you
Yeah.
know,
Well, they've
they
seen a
don't have
bunch of
much
pop
human
culture
side
stuff.
anymore.
They know, like,
Oh, that's true.
the
seen all
standard
the
of
pop
beauty
culture
is
stuff.
Hollywood's standard of beauty.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. They got
They obviously know Gwen Stefani and her hollaback girl.
So bad.
It's like,
I like that too. I like that in the origin story they had a little bit of, you know, slightly older kind of adolescent turtles, and you know that was a really good touch with it. You know, they wanted so bad to, like, you know, see the outside world, so they'd watch videos.
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
Lumiere thing. That was really cool. I thought that was a good touch.
They had that, and then they did have like the little turtles growing up, where they had the little kid turtles training.
yeah, they're playing like
Yeah.
the
So
Buck
it's-
Buck or the game that comes back to
Yeah.
defeat the Shredder, which,
Buck
Oh, yeah.
Buck,
yeah,
which is I guess leapfrog.
yeah, will you
Right.
attack buckets? I don't know. They're turtles. They're not-
Game. I still don't know how that game works.
That's another one though, to where you're saying like the turtles almost reverted to the bad guys' tactics of, okay, everybody wait your turn, attack.
Yeah.
You know, Shredder one at a time. Everybody, don't get
Yeah.
overcrowded. Don't try to just.
Well,
you
they're the
know,
good guys. They got
box them in.
like the bad guys. It just doesn't make sense. But the good guys, they take their time, one at a time. They don't fight
Good
unfair.
guys.
Right?
They
at
don't.
least
They
keep it
play fair. That's why they're good guys. That's what
Yeah,
separates
that's
them
true.
from the bad guys.
That's true.
True.
The bad guys should be the one to just gang them on.
Which in this movie they did a little bit of. Like they had trank darts and they were ganging up on
yeah,
the.
they did get.
There was a
ganged up
scene where
on.
they were like Leonardo was getting like gang bang by like all the electric cattle
Yeah, we got,
prods.
like, cattle
Oh, yeah.
prod from every
And,
direction.
like 6 of them just shooting him while he's down. It's like, damn, they're really going all into this.
Right.
Yeah, that is true. They went full force in this. Like the bad guys went full force. They didn't line up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw Splinter actually fight in this one.
Splinter did fight in this
That
one.
was-
He had a gigantic tail that was.
Right.
Yeah, their whips around everywhere.
I like that he utilized the tail. Like, that was a really good touch of, you know, the CGI era. Just
Yeah.
being able to take advantage of that instead of being like, okay, how do we make, you know,
Yeah.
a puppet tail look like it's kicking some ass on.
That's one of those things though. It's like in that fight where you like Splinter is almost basically dying. Like it was another time where like a big role is on the verge of death and I still don't care.
Ben has no empathy, everybody.
That's what we learned. Ben just doesn't care when people die. Or almost die.
Ben died.
At least
Splinter
on
almost
screen.
died, and I'm like, huh.
Ben just doesn't care when people die. He's got no heart.
No heart.
I assume,
Like, go ahead and die
I assume
already.
I'm becoming
Stop taking up
heartless at
screen
this
time.
point.
Which makes sense because Ben is the Grinch. He's not. One of these days we're gonna watch a movie and it's gonna be like Ben loved the movie. What?
What?
His heart grew 3 sizes that day.
It's gonna be weird.
It's a miracle.
In July. I don't.
In July.
He's not capable of love.
It's a half Christmas miracle.
Christmas miracle.
Right, so final thoughts?
Great movie.
Great movie. Hate it.
I liked it. There was... guess I say I more liked it than disliked it. Because I would definitely watch it again.
Yeah, I would.
But it's
I won't.
It's definitely like, let's say if I had to order the movies of all the live action movies from order of best to worst. My favorite is the first one. Then the second one. Yes, it is kiddie, but I loved it. It was well done for having a lot of humor throughout. Minus Vanilla Ice, but he did do the good song that's really catchy. And then I like the Michael Bay one more than the third one, just because I thought the third one I thought would have been good as a cartoon episode. Like, that's what it seemed like to me. Like, it should have been like a multi-part cartoon episode. That would have held up more for me. I think
I could see that.
Ben, how would you rate the movies?
If we had to rate them,
Which we do.
Which we are.
It's in your contract,
we're
Ben.
doing right now.
It's in your contract. You have to rate the Turtles movies.
I guess I'd have to say the 1990s, the original Ninja Turtles one is my favorite one, because you had the really cool fight between Raphael and Casey Jones, which I still think holds up as a good fight.
that was cool way to meet.
I like that one. There's still the nostalgia for me. It's what I grew up with. It's what I love. It had the adult themes. It was more adulty.
Okay.
Then I'd have to go, I guess TMNT 2 would be my second favorite, even though it's very kiddie, all of that. The TMNT CGI one might be third, just because I like the story of all four of the turtles kind of splitting their ways.
That was great.
I like the way Karai was done in that a lot. I liked seeing a new bad guy that wasn't Shredder. I like the foot soldiers still being ninjas. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff I like about that movie. I kind of like the monsters. Like, they're kind of cool. I like how when the turtles came back, they're like, Mikey is still a jokester, and there's a part when they do that big fight scene on the tower with the monsters, and he's like, I give it a 10 for awesome, and a 10 for coolness, and like a 2 for stealth. As they knock the tower down. So I guess that one. And then this Michael Bay one I went into, when the first time I went and seen it, I was like, it cannot be worse than 3. And I'll give them that credit. It's not worse than 3.
Right,
like,
Ben doesn't hate it the most.
I do. It is, like, I like the personality of the turtles. Like, I feel like they did good with the personality. And I like the distinction of the turtles all looking different, because we've never seen that done before.
Right.
And I feel like all the turtles look cool. All of them have a nice way to go. So there's that. I like that. 3 is just a pile of trash from beginning to end. Like, I assume they just pooped out a script and they were like, all right, go. And that's what they read.
Start making
like,
your puppets.
Even the acting just feels god awful in this movie.
Right.
But just from beginning to end, I hate the way the turtles look. The whole time, all I did was focus on the eye holes under the bandana. Like, if you're gonna put big ass eye holes, just put them in the bandana. Or just take out, like, the really goofy, like, it looks like they have googly eyes. Like, in that movie, it looks like they have big googly eyes. So you could just take those out and put some mesh there. At that rate. And then put your eye holes there instead of under the bandana.
Right.
Like, I could not get past seeing that. And just how bad they looked. They looked worse than the cartoon in 1990, who don't look that good. Like, they looked worse. So that's the way I would rank all of them from top to bottom.
If I had to rank them, I mean...
You do.
If you're, I
we
know.
all had to, including
I know.
you.
Oh, I will. Oh, don't worry, I will. I'm just saying that if you haven't muted me when my part comes up, you will now. I thought the Michael Bay one was the best out of the 4. I won't rank the CGI one because I don't really care that much about that enough to give it a fair ranking. Because I've only seen it once and it was kind of half-hearted. But I would probably say the Michael Bay one was good. Like I said, the best inclination of April O'Neil live action I've seen. Like, they gave her the best character development. She wasn't just a person to get saved by the turtles and then they roped her in. She actually had a part to it. I felt that the turtles looked good. They should be gigantic and overbearing than regular street people because they're mutant turtles. So I thought that was good. Their personalities were the best we've seen in anything. They were distinct. The Shredder was the only thing that I was kind of iffy on. Didn't really care for the way he looked, but I thought the fight scenes with him were better than the original, so I gave it a point for that. William Finkter being the bad guy, whatever. He didn't really serve a giant purpose other than let's make a shit ton of money because that's what he wanted, which is classic rich America. So I can't fault him for being who he is. But I don't care for him as a character. I thought the side characters were okay. Vern was good. I like Will Arnett, so he was good in that aspect of being like the comedy guy,
Right.
the guy who's lusting after April, but still having a plot and still having character development. He wasn't just there to drive April around.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that aspect. I don't know. I would probably rate this one, if I had to give it like 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. I would say the first original one was probably a 7.5 out of 10. It still was a little bit too kiddie for me. Obviously, in 1990, I was 1, so I didn't really see it. I didn't really see it more than a couple times when I was younger. Than watching them all like 15 years later, like objectively, it didn't hold up that well. I thought the Turtles looked better than they did in the other 2 movies, but they were still kind of like they were still. I couldn't get around the puppetry, like their giant beak lips was.
Oh yeah.
They looked like people in costumes, which they were, but it was still like they didn't seem like mutant turtles to me. So I kind of docked the points from that. The plot was kind of iffy. With obviously the Shredder has a group of 12-year-old boys that he has a warehouse for.
As a teenage kid, I wanted to live in that warehouse.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I wanted to be part of that. It's got arcade games, skateboarding ramps,
Right.
as a menace to
cigarettes.
cigars for 10-year-old boys, yeah. As a menace to society, I didn't really like the kid aspect of the teenagers, of them being the Foot Clan, who know martial arts really well. Like, it was kind of just, they were there to be fodder. I would have to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 is better. I would probably rank that about a 4.5 out of 10. I mean, the Turtles were terrible. They looked awful. Their liver spots were Mr. Burns-like, as I said. It was terrible, but the time travel aspect, I didn't think any worse of that than them getting stuck in the ooze and growing up to Mutant Turtles, so I didn't really care. Like, that wasn't like something that took me out of the movie. The Casey Jones parts was good. The old Japanese parts were good. Overall, I did like it. The comedy was good, and then Ninja Turtles 2 would probably be like a 4 out of 10. It was just a cluster. Like, from the opening scene where they're using, like, toy gadgets and, like, kiddie things to fight people because their weapons, which they have, they just don't use.
They use them to dance.
Yeah.
Right. They
Yeah.
were bored that day.
As my point. And then it just goes on to them being crazy in the sewers, and then the Taka and Razar,
Toka and Razor.
Tokar and Razor, like them growing up is the same thing, but they're idiot baby.
They're babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all too much for me. Like, it was too kiddie. And then the donuts, and then the Vanilla Ice scene, and then
I still say pre-fight donuts in all fights.
Shredder getting defeated easily, and then Kevin Nash's Shredder defeating himself was kind of like
Right.
He doesn't even.
He just threw a fit to death.
Yeah.
It's true. He doesn't even attack the turtles. He just knocks down the dock.
He pulls like an Anakin
On
Skywalker
himself.
fit and destroys everything and kills himself. Like, that was the main thing I didn't like about the first 2, which takes points away, is that the Shredder fights were just so... It was like, alright, the Shredder beats up the Turtles, and then something happens where the Shredder kills himself. He, like... In the first one, like, Splinter just swings Michelangelo's nunchucks, and that's all that she wrote for that. And in the second one, he gets blown out by a Back to the Future speaker, and then he kills himself when he's Super Shredder. That's...
Right.
I really couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
So overall, the Michael Bay one was the best.
I disagree still.
I
The
can
91
yeah,
is the
I can
best.
see that.
You're insane.
Yeah. That's why we're on the show, Ben. Loved it, hated
That's
it.
why we call it Love to Hate It.
Not mildly liked it.
Yeah, it's true. Love to hate it for a reason. That's
right.
that reason.
That's my job. Mildly liked it.
Yeah.
Middle ground.
Mike's the guy here to stop
Middle
us
ground
from
Mike.
Yeah.
coming to blows.
Yeah. He keeps us from having that pre-fight donut before the fight.
He's got a referee shirt on if you can't tell at home.
All right, that's all we got, right?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
Cool.
Closing out episode 2.
Episode 2
in the
and
books.
that's a wrap.
Heroes in a half shell. Here's one
Turtle
thing
power.
before we go. That's what I never understood about the theme. Heroes in a half shell. What the? That doesn't make sense. Like, even as a kid, that didn't make sense to me. Like, they have a full shell. There's the front and there's the back.
What exactly is
It's
a half shell?
It's a full turtle shell. Like, what do they mean by half shell? Is it because their shell isn't totally round? Like the front part is flat, but that's still a full
half
shell. Like, I never get that part.
Let's see, I'm looking
I mean,
it
it's
up.
catchy. It's good.
It's a catchier song that way.
I'm looking it
Here's
up.
a half shell.
We'll find out.
See?
Turtle power.
Turtle power. Turtle power.
Oh, and that is one thing that I noticed that they kept, kind of kept in line with the old movies in the Michael Bay one, is they had a horrible Ninja Turtles hip hop song to start the credits.
They did.
As they always do in the movies. Just, let's get the worst produced bullshit we can find and just, you know, have them make a song about Ninja Turtles so you could tell they don't give a fuck about the Ninja Turtles. Like you could tell well, actually, I should probably look it up because I could be talking out of my ass. But the girl that was singing the end credits song for the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles, it's like, I bet she didn't even, like, she's, like, maybe her brother was into him or something, but she's like, it's a gig.
All right.
Well, I know the guy who sings it, like the rapper Juicy J. He was part of 3-6 Mafia, and I don't think they know what
I'm
Turtles.
sure they're real big on the Turtles.
Oh, they do.
3-6 Mafia.
They did do the Mark Henry entrance theme, so they have.
House of Pain.
They did have a connection. That's not. They're not just. They don't. They can put away their old school side for a paycheck. So
I guess that's true.
If they're paying money, they'll tell whatever you want.
Heck yeah. Right. Cool.
All right, that's the end.
Cool. The end. We loved it. We hated it. We all arounded it.
All around it. Perfect. All right.
As Ben would say,
Cool.
it existed.
It existed.
It exists.
And as I say, it was a great existence.
And we will see you all next week.